Trustees meeting. We'll start as usual, which I forgot to do last week, by introducing ourselves, and if you care to share what you're reading, please do. Kathy, you want to?
Yes, I'm Kathy Loser, and I'm still plowing through Molecules of More.
I actually don't know the title. I'm Jamie Burkhart, but I'm reading like The Secrets of Classroom Management, something like that.
Really?
Oh, it's a good one. It's a page turner.
I'm David Ferguson, and I'm still waiting on a time to get with my wife and finish The Lost Apothecary. Yeah, it's killing me because we have to listen to it together.
I'm John Walsh. I'm reading Jack Kirby's The Eternals comic book series. There's a movie coming out next month, so I'm reading the originals.
I'm Marilyn Wood, and I'm reading a book called Harbor Me by Jacqueline Woodson. She will be our Power of Words speaker in February.
I'm Chris Harrison, and I'm reading a young children's book, World Between Blinks.
Thank you, everyone. The first item on our agenda is approval of the consent agenda, which includes meetings from previous minutes from previous meetings, monthly financial report, monthly bills for payment, personnel report, and our meeting calendar. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? I had a question of curiosity. I saw there were a number of $75 payments, I think, to IU Health Bloomington. I'm just curious what those might be.
I'll ask either Gary or Kyle to report on that one.
I will have to get back to you.
Okay.
Is there a date that you're looking at, John?
It's on page 48 of the minutes, and the dates are like August 26th, September 19, October 3, October 10. So. Any other questions or comments on the consent agenda? All in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And I'll turn it over to Marilyn for any highlights from her monthly report.
I didn't prepare anything specific. I think I just wanted to bring to your attention that people are returning to in-person programming, and that has been very popular. Folks are really excited, particularly to be able to bring their children to what they consider to be a pretty welcoming and safe place right now. And so we just keep moving on with that. And I think that the other thing that's starting to happen more often now is some of our partnerships or people are coming to participate in things here. Even today, we had a childhood, what's the name of it? Childhood Summit. There's an extended name to that I'm missing. But it was here today with breakout sessions, and so people are beginning to participate.
Any questions or comments on Marilyn's report? Well, it's good to see people enjoying returning to the building. Moving on then, under old business, we have change order approval for the Southwest Branch planning.
Evening, everyone. So we've started our pre-construction meetings with Strasser Construction, Matthew Architects, and library administrators, specifically myself, Marilyn, and Josh. We're holding these bi-weekly at the library. Our first was on October 7th, where we started discussing schedule of permits, submittals, payments, who the key personnel and lines of communication are going to be throughout this project, the use of the site and safety standards, and some sort of discussion and acknowledgement of the potential supply chain impact on this project, which would be no surprise to anybody. We have some follow-up information on the value engineering clarifications relative to change order number 1. This is an update since last week's work session. So there are 4 items on the change order. Let's start with number 2, the acoustic ceiling panels. From what we understand, based on an NRC rating, there's only a 5% difference in sound absorption and reflection, and so the architects recommend we go with this specific change. With regard to number 3, the zinc coating, this is for interior wall framing rather than exterior, and so the architect do recommend that we go with that change as well. And number 4, the stormwater detention system. This is an alternative product, BioClean product. It should result in the equivalent performance regarding peak flow, reduction in water quality, and so the architects recommend going with that change as well. But for the first one, the rain screen metal panel system, we're talking about an aluminum system versus a steel system, a difference of $12,500. Even though the systems are the same, the aluminum is a 3-coat system, and it does provide an additional layer of protection against chipping and fading over time, while the steel system is a 2-coat system and not as protective. Also, the warranties between the two are exactly the same. They're 20 years, so there's no gain there. And so the architect's recommendation is that we go ahead and stick with the original aluminum system. But that, of course, is up to you all. So we're happy to answer any questions about these.
Well, the acoustic tiles, so the ones we would be changing to save a little money, they are 5% less effective in
Correct.
sound absorption.
Absorption and reflection, yeah. So it's kind of pretty similar.
I just want to clarify to make sure I understand. So we're looking at accepting the changes 2, 3, and 4, but not 1?
Correct.
Okay.
And what's the cost associated with the, I'm sorry, were you done, Jamie?
Yes.
What's the cost associated with the ceiling tile change?
I don't, Marilyn, do you know offhand?
Okay.
Okay.
6,200.
So I mean, if you all are comfortable with that, I'm fine with it. I just think, in a library, 5% isn't that insignificant for that little bit of money. I don't know what others might think.
Because I think it is important to have, whether it's performances or programming or people wanting a space to just be quiet, it may make a, I don't know, 5% may make a difference. I don't know.
I'm with you.
Uh,
Keep the choir.
I would go with that.
Would the administrators object if we went with the?
Not at all.
Then do we need a motion to accept items 2 and, on mine, the acoustic panels are number 3?
Yeah, so we would be
Yeah.
accepting items 2 and 4 of the change order. And not 1 and 3. And we can, if you approve those, then we can get an updated change order signed
Okay.
and approved.
Does it have to go back through this process?
It
again?
doesn't.
Okay, all right,
If you approve as amended,
okay.
correct? Okay.
And this one had all 4 on it anyway.
The one that was the original? Yeah, that's the original.
Oh, okay. Is there another
Right.
one?
And then there was a value engineering recommendation. The numbers are the same.
Okay.
So as long as I can respond back to the architects and let them know which ones we're keeping. So we would be amending it to include changing the zinc coating on the interior metal framing and changing the stormwater detention system to BioClean for the 2 items that we would have a change order.
Okay. So do we have a motion to amend the change order to approve items 2 and 4, 2, change the zinc coating, 4, change the stormwater detention system, and reject the other items 1 and 3?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And then do we have a motion to approve this amended change order?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the amended change order, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. And moving on to new business, we addressed all of these, I think, last week. A couple we still had questions on, but we start with the most important, I think, 2022 budget adoption. Do we have a motion to approve the 2022 budget?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Gary?
We went over the initial draft of the budget in July in some detail, and again in September at the public hearing. So tonight we have the final step of the budget process, which is the approval of the adoption form. The first column on the adoption form is the spending budget for each of the library's funds. And the total spending budget for 2022 is $12,272,959. The second column is the budgeted revenue from the operating fund tax levy and the debt fund tax levy. The operating fund levy is about $7 million, and the debt levy is about $720,000. The third column is the tax rate. The combined operating fund and debt fund tax rate for 2022 is 9.25 cents per $100 of assessed value. And this kind of puts into context where we are in 2022. So as you can see, back in 2011, we were near 11 cents per $100 of assessed value. And over the past several years, we have hung around the 10 cent per $100 assessed, the 10 cent rate. And at this point, I would open it up for questions if there are any questions on the budget or the detail.
Are there any questions from the board on the budget or comments? And then are you finished, Gary?
Yep.
Well, of course, this is the end of a months-long process where we've asked many questions previously. Seeing no discussion, all in favor of adopting the 2022 budget, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And thank you, Gary and Marilyn and Greer and everyone else who worked on this process over the past months. Do we have a motion to approve the resolution declaring surplus items?
So moved.
Second.
Anything of note on this list, Gary?
No, it's cleaning house more or less, I think. Marilyn, I don't know, you're.
Well, the one thing of note that you might see is the book bike. We had there was an accident, it was totaled. So we no longer have a book bike. We will be reviewing whether or not the merits of having that return or not in the future, but at present, we do not have one.
Okay?
Everyone is fine,
Okay.
and we actually did get some money back through insurance, so it wasn't a total loss, but we no longer have it in our fleet.
Was it an accident with
A car?
a car?
It was with a concrete, what was it?
Pillar?
Pillar, like a, yeah, it was off the trail. Yeah. It's a fiberglass bike, so it didn't handle that
Ugh.
well.
Any discussion on the resolution declaring certain property surplus? All in favor of approving the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And do we have a motion to approve our updated wage and salary schedule?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or any points of clarification?
I'll just add that this was related to the conversation that we had last week at our work session for continuous improvement. And so one of the questions that came up was, what does that new organization org chart look like? And I have provided, or Greer has provided to you a copy of the old one, as well as the management structure for the new one, and one that just shows all of the of our staff lines, so you can see how that plays out now. One thing of note on the wage and salary schedule is that we would like to have it be effective as of 9/27/21.
Are there any questions or comments on the updated wage and salary schedule? All in favor of approving the new wage and salary schedule effective 9/27/2021, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And do we have a motion to approve 2022 employee insurance benefits?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This is one of the items we had questions about last week, so we are now open for discussion.
We wanted to respond to your questions, and so we've provided a little overview of what we've been looking at and what we propose to do in the coming year. As we discussed, we have several rates on hold, which is always good. And that's for dental, vision, and life. And we recommend going forward with the providers that we have right now, which is Paramount Dental and HRI IMED and AUL Life. We also recommend continuing to offer our employee-paid benefits, including Allstate, FSA, that's COBRA, and prepaid legal. The FSA is to help people that are in PPO plans to put money aside for pre-tax dollars for any kind of health care they anticipate. Our Activate Clinic name has changed. They're now Everside Clinic, and they have offered a 1% increase for the 2022 benefit year. With our health insurance, we've prepared some additional information, including our proposal to remain with SIHO for 2022. Included in the packet is a chart outlining the health insurance rates paid by the library over the last few years. You can see that the overall cost has been very stable over the last few years. The last chart shows the per employee per month, which illustrates how rates from 2018 going forward have been actually lower than those from 2011 to 2016. Our current total population using our insurance are 91 employees. Of those, 73 have single plans, with the remaining 18 spread across all the other family plans and options. The actual cost for the library and staff, the co-share, for the 2022 SIHO plan is included. Also included are the 2021 rates for comparison. Finally, we also have an overview of the pros and cons of the narrow network, We did some research over the last week, and we wanted to just talk about as a reminder that those who help us navigate and negotiate healthcare costs requested quotes from Anthem, IU Health, United Healthcare, and SIO, our current provider. UHC declined, as they have in the last couple of years. IU Health offered a 13.44% decrease based on a very narrow network, service network. They also offered two other plan options, which are more closely aligned with what we have now with slightly wider networks, but each with an increase of rates from 7.75%, and the other one was 9.97%. Anthem offered a 5.32% increase. Anthem quote included offers and other contingencies, such as the library's participation in other products. It was kind of unusual. We hadn't quite heard that before. Following negotiation with JA Benefits, SIHO offered a 9% rate increase across the board with no changes in plans, benefit coverage, or co-pays. So they did negotiate down. Remaining with SIHO is based on the following considerations. SIHO coverage and IU Health Select coverage do not offer the same value. SIHO offers greater access to service and better value. At this point in time, ensuring a broad enough network coverage to receive local service for staff and patient needs. The overall cost of insurance for staff. Narrow networks may cause overall higher staff insurance costs when we look at our out-of-network expenses due to fewer network providers in network. Thorough consideration of our healthcare use and analysis in 2022, and preparation for potential changes in providers prior to the renewal period. This analysis will include strategy for our overall healthcare and coverage costs, just as we'll be doing with our salary and wage structure. We anticipate doing a study for that in 2022.
So overall, what I would wrap that up to say is that in terms of value of service and cost to our staff, SIHO still looks like a better deal. And next year, prior to this process or this time of year, what we will be doing is doing a much more thorough analysis of both our insurance coverage, benefits, rates, and services in the community. We also want to do a wage and salary study next year and take a look at the whole benefits package, because it's been some time since that's happened, and we know we need to look at it in comparison to the market in which we live and rates of pay. So we intend to do both those things in 2022 as a big benefits package look.
Next year, could we hear from JA Benefits?
Sure,
I mean, it would be nice.
sure.
You know, like, it would just be nice to hear from them, to talk about the market, to talk
be
about
happy.
what it means to have narrower band of providers. Like, what does that really mean?
Sure.
Okay, it's narrower. That sounds terrible.
But what does it mean
What does it
comparatively?
mean?
Right?
What does it mean really? Is
Yeah.
it one doctor, or is it
I get it.
1,000 doctors
Yeah.
fewer?
Mhm.
You
The
know,
relative nature of it.
the
yeah.
relative nature. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
you know, I know it's very hard to ever get anybody to want to change the health insurance coverage, and I'm not promoting it because I don't know half enough
Yeah.
to know.
Yeah,
But
right.
I hope that somebody would, and it sounds like JA Benefits is recommending this, I guess, but they don't know your budget.
Right.
You know, they
They'd
suspect
be
they know
happy
what's
to.
best.
And you know, we've had these discussions with them very specifically. It's hard to discuss people's health care, to give you real examples without feeling like you're not, you know, protecting healthcare information.
No, I get it. I harken back to like 1996 or 7 or whatever. I was on the board, and I asked the director at the time, hey, how much do we spend on health insurance, and should we look at some other options? and I think I got a 9-page single-spaced letter back that didn't have a single number in it. And I was like, how are you asking me to weigh in on this? And I love the idea of having a professional advisor to help us sort through this. And so it'd just be nice, perhaps they could pop in a meeting, maybe earlier in the process,
Right.
tell us what they're seeing.
Yeah, that's difficult for us right now because we were, as we said, we didn't get the information back from them until last Monday before our meeting on Wednesday. So getting the information early enough in the year to make some decisions on this is tough because you're down to the wire. So,
Yeah.
but what we can do is
Right, every
is
year
get
though,
them.
we're down to the wire.
Right.
It's down to the last second. What are we gonna do? We
Yeah.
shouldn't change. It's just
Yeah.
like,
So
And-
we've
Well,
already had
it
conversations
doesn't feel
with
like
them.
management
Yeah.
of the issue.
And I did some research over the week and started looking into the different networks and doing comparisons. And, there's a real difference. And there's also things that we can do to be more specific about, what's important to our staff and look at our healthcare needs and be able to be more targeted in what we provide. We've already decided we're going to be meeting in the early spring and begin these discussions, so we can probably bring that to you fairly quickly.
That'd be great.
And I think, in August or September, they know what the different networks are, even if we don't have our quotes yet.
Costs.
And they can talk about what,
Right.
the things we're likely to get back, what do these different networks look like? And then we know, when we get the quotes, more about what we're choosing amongst.
Yeah.
Yeah, our budget is 812,000.
Yeah.
You're starting to get into some real money.
No doubt.
We also know that we were very lucky this year compared to a lot of employers, just from COVID to everything else. But they were actually telling us they were dealing with people with 30%, 40% increases. So, and that was new. It wasn't something that they had been seeing in the past.
And you said the Anthem quote, they were requiring that we buy other stuff from
They
them?
didn't require, it was just, there was a couple of things that were required, but they were really oddball. Something like we could participate if we became members in the state chamber. That was something that they were offering. And I know part of that is because they try to offer, shared networks. And sometimes that works for the smaller employers or the really large employers.
Well, I think
So-
it would work for us. You were saying that we had a couple claims that pushed up our rating, but yeah, if you can, I don't know how it works, but it seems like they always promise you, we're going to put you in a group of other small businesses and there'll be 10,000 lives or.
Yeah, I don't know how it works either.
Yeah, that's something we always do.
At one
look-
point, we went together with not all, but many other libraries in the state to try to get a bigger group.
We were
And-
actually the largest employer in that group. That's what we had when I first got here, and we were actually, they were benefiting from us more than we were benefiting from them.
Well, right, but
So you have
we would
to- yeah,
benefit
so
from
you
being
always
in a
have
group
to-
of 20,000 lives.
Right, so you always have to evaluate those things as well.
Yeah.
so.
But I don't
But
know
yeah,
how you
those
could
are-
negotiate anything with our small group of people.
Well,
We're tiny.
we are, but we're also demonstratively important to SIHO or to other carriers. So let's try and leverage what we have, and that's what we're doing. We're mid-market. We also have the healthcare premium contributions sheets for all of our benefits. Does anybody have any questions about those? Like I said, the dental, vision, and short-term disability, they're unchanged from last year.
If an employee works over 37.5 hours, MCPL picks up their whole premium. for the year, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Then under 30 hours, it's a certain percentage that
Yeah.
they take on and you take
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
We have one grandfathered employee, 30
Okay.
hours.
Are there questions on the premium information here?
So on the dental contributions, employee only, 37 and a half hours a week, $348 annually, library contribution. The library's paying, that's 100% of the dental, $348.
No.
No,
Mm-mm.
we actually pay
Looks like
the employee pays the $21,
annually, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
83 cents per pay.
The employee pays $21 annually, we pay $348 for a total of almost $370 a year for dental.
Yeah, dental insurance is one of those things that have gone up every year. A lot of things aren't covered, such as implants and those type of things. It just costs you right out of the market. They do pay a $25 deductible, but also an annual maximum of $1,250. And if anybody's had a procedure, one
So
good
wait, you
one.
pay $370 for an annual max of $1,200?
Yes.
That's dental insurance. It's the wild, wild west.
No, I mean, just, you look at it and go, you should just self-insure. I mean, we had dental insurance for a while and it was just stupid. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't cover anything and it costs you a lot of money. You might as well save your money and just wait. And a lot of things that'll happen to you will probably be covered under health insurance. If you're in an accident and your teeth get knocked out,
Yeah.
that's probably covered under some sort of
Mhm.
other insurance than your dental insurance. So you almost wonder if you could ask somebody, could we self-insure? If the annual maximum is $1,250, we're paying $370 for what? I mean, insurance is for, we could put the savings away.
Can you do like a health savings account for teeth?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is not one, but
Oh.
we do look at the rates every year. I would think that that's something that we can also, we will certainly look at it next year. As far as being self-insured for that, I've not come across that, but we'll certainly look into it.
So I was thinking about the self-insured part a minute ago, not for dental, but for medical, because I'm aware of a handful of libraries in Indiana that are self-insured. And Bartholomew County being one of them, close by. And so I actually have a meeting of these adult play libraries next week. I could explore a little bit more about
That would be
what they're
great.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the total, annual headache is, but it's just not providing that much insurance.
Right.
This is like
It
those-
is a total.
It's probably just paying for 2 cleanings a year.
Yes.
That's it.
That's all anybody ever gets out of it, but for $370, that's more than my guy charges.
Yeah.
That's like 50% more than what, I mean,
I
he's
think the average
120 a
teeth
pop.
cleaning is 175.
I don't have insurance, it's just
Yeah.
120
I
bucks,
get a
clean your teeth.
10% discount when I do.
Mine does not charge that. We need to talk.
Yeah, so walking distance. I will set you
Yeah.
up.
A lot of dentists will give you a percentage off if you don't have insurance.
Do they get free cleanings and checkups?
Yes,
as-
those
Okay.
are free.
No deductible.
It's
Okay.
the other ones that are,
Well, anyway, it's just something to
Yeah.
look at. I mean, it looks like that extended warranty, system, it just doesn't, I mean, my experience was bad with it, but, it's just one of those things that'd be fun to, get JA in and chat with them about that and say, well, how do we deal with this? It looks like that's not
Does he
necessarily a
deal
great
with
deal.
dental insurance as well? Or the
Does
JA
what?
Does JA, because I know dentists are kind of on this side of the medical world in terms of.
yeah, I think that there's, the onus of control isn't what it is with medical.
Yeah.
But certainly, they are always looking at different vendors and opportunities. So they'll have no problem digging into that.
And then if you self-insure, I don't know much about, I think IU self-insures, but it's still it's administered by Anthem or whoever.
Right, you
so
want
you're-
somebody else to administer.
Yeah.
You're
Write
paying
the bills. Pay them.
something for that.
Well, and you
I
need to
may be
have
aggressive, but I'm not
insurance
crazy.
in case
Wouldn't wanna do
high
that.
claims.
And then there's that law about unfunded liability.
Exactly.
Yep.
What, do you know what it covers, like, because the only thing I'm thinking, just because I went through that, and that was one period we were kind of like extra dental insurance was with orthodontia. Because
Yeah,
that can be a real,
Right.
that can rack up pretty quickly.
And we haven't been able to offer that. That's a-
Okay, so there's no coverage for orthodontia?
Yeah, there's coverage.
Oh.
We're talking, when you said extra, I thought you meant,
No, just
know,
like,
is there
so
a-
is it, like, once you pay the
Mm-hmm.
maximum, then above and beyond, it's covered 100%, 80%?
Out of pocket.
no,
no.
once you
Once
meet
you
your
do the out-of-pocket-
deductible, that's it.
Yeah, you pay.
$1,200 and
You pay that, and then after that, it's whatever's left over for the orthodontia is covered 100%.
And What a lot of
Oh,
people do is have to time their procedures so that maybe they do part of it in December and part of it in January or something. I've done that myself. So we help people to think through how to manage costs.
There, you get $1,200 per year regardless.
Oh, okay.
And after that.
And after
it's-
that, you
it's-
pay
it's-
100%.
Yeah,
Wow.
the patient pays.
Okay. Because
That's
that,
the way most dental insurance plans are.
yeah.
The maximum, I think, is 2,000 in some insurance policies, dental
It's like,
policies.
well, we'll do the root canal, and you need to wait till next year to get the crown on it. You know?
That's happened.
That could be painful.
Yeah.
You can keep gluing this temp on until the new
Yeah, well,
year
clearly
kicks
you'd
in.
want to negotiate a higher annual maximum,
Okay.
especially if you're experiencing that where people are like, hey, I have to schedule part
Yeah.
1 year and part the next. It's like, okay.
Anything else?
Any more discussion?
Thank you.
So next year, we'll visit this a bit earlier and get more information ahead of time about the options we might see when we get to this point. Thank you, Kyle.
I just want to say,
Oh.
I
Kyle,
want-
too, I really thought it was a great idea, too, to look at staff needs.
Yeah.
And you talked about
Yes,
serving
yeah.
staff, because it's not just best policy, but best
Right.
policy for the staff.
Which
So-
reminds me, we tried something out earlier this year that we didn't bring to the board. It was an increase, we did a study, and so did our staff, on employee assistance programs. They actually came back and found that, and this was their own run study, that they didn't want online support. They didn't think that would be worth it. So we went to JA Benefits mid-year, and they worked with AUL, our life insurance provider, who already had a minimal EAP program. And we increased that so that all of our staff, including material handlers, could access this, as well as have access to 6 telephone support calls with a credible psychologist or provider. And then that also have a huge reference system so that they know the people in your area in Bloomington that they can refer you to, or identify quickly if you need more support than they can provide and help you get there. So the staff are very thankful for that. It's up on our Lint website, so they can make a call at any time.
Sorry to ask another question, but was the employee assistance program ever a program that was like face-to-face discussion and it stopped because of COVID? That's why you went to
Right.
the online, they didn't like it, and then you
We've
went to the
never
telephone?
had the face-to-face.
Okay.
So what we did is JA Benefits brought us multiple quotes for different types of plan. And the decision was, let's do this. We'll get reports that tell us nothing about the visits, but show us usage. And we said that to staff. We'll assess if this is something that looks like something that is popular, or we need to expand our plan, we'll look at that.
Okay.
I have one more question on SciHo. Do they, I know that Anthem provides like online, like you're talking about, but for a lot of different things, like access to a registered nurse or a nurse practitioner, online very easily from your home with your computer. does SIHO offer anything like that?
They've had a couple of plans over the year. I know just from today that they have partnered with CVS to have healthcare practitioners work with you if you want to call in and have somebody coach you or work with you. I just got a call about that today. They had one earlier, but in 2021, but it went the wayside like in June. So this is their new response to providing that kind of assistance.
Okay.
But I don't know a lot about it yet.
Also, that may come from the provider within that network. You know, like, for example, if they see an IU Health doctor.
Oh, right, each
Yeah,
doctor might
yeah,
provide it.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it was just interesting that the health insurer was providing it as kind of a front end to say, let us help you, it's a quick thing, it's guaranteed. That way, you know, you don't need to wait. Probably saves them money at some point to get you quicker health care.
And
But
that-
I just wondered, because, you know, it's like, just like the clinic, we thought was a super idea. Hey, get them in, get to the clinic, so many things can be provided for free, so many common medications. You know, it's a great benefit. And I just wondered, now it seems like online
Yeah.
could be cool.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor of approving 2022 employee insurance benefits, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you again, Kyle. And next, we have 5 different policies that I think are all relatively minor changes of language or other things. But first up, do we have a motion to approve the security camera policy?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the security camera policy, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And do we have a motion to approve the internet and computer use policy?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? This just changes customer to patrons and the date, I believe. Seeing none, all in favor of approving the internet and computer use policy, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Do we have a motion to approve the meeting room policy?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the meeting room policy, please say aye.
Aye.
And do we have a motion to approve the art exhibit and display policy?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of approving the art exhibit and display policy, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And we have a brand-new form next, I believe. Do we have a motion to approve the art exhibit release form?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the art exhibit release form, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And next is, do we have a motion to approve the computer disaster and recovery policy?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This isn't in our packet because of the confidential nature of the, or security-related nature of the computer disaster policy. Is there any discussion about this? All in favor of approving the computer disaster recovery policy, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you for efficient approval of all those policies and our new form. And next, we have Elizabeth Gray, Adult Audience Strategist, to give us an update on adult services.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak this evening. Adult services continued to rise to the challenges posed by the pandemic by providing services and programs in innovative ways. One example, our Take and Makes have been a popular program. These are bags placed in the vestibule for any patron to take that contain items and directions for patrons to take home with them and make a craft of their own. Just yesterday, a special version of these, designed by librarian Maggie Hutt, required registration for a Chopped Challenge. The bags contain food items, and a few cookbooks were put on hold for each patron, providing inspiration. Patrons can then share their creations on social media using library-specific tags. This Take and Make broke a library record by filling up its registrations in half an hour. We also ramped up our outdoor programming with events including patrons learning to sketch what they see in nature, as well as a popular series of outdoor music concerts, including the band Busman's Holiday and the Bloomington Jazz Orchestra. Library Tender started as a service to bridge the gap that was left when browsing our collections was unavailable because we could only provide curbside pickup of holds due to the pandemic. The service solicits reading preferences from patrons. Then librarians choose 3 to 5 titles that are in line with those reading preferences. The books are checked out to the patron and put in a bag that the patrons get to keep, along with a few fun giveaways like stickers, and this time we had a reading light that has the Monroe County Public Library logo on it. Library Tender became so popular that we had to continue the service long past curbside, and we're still doing it. So keep your eye open because that's another one that closes up quickly as soon as we open it. Librarian Christine Friesel created the popular Monroe County Field Notes. This engages local residents in discovering stories about their own address, or they can choose another landmark in Monroe County. Participants then submit their findings, and these will be used in future local history projects. We also hired 3 new librarians, Stacy Terhune, Maggie Hutt, and Jack Kovaleski. In our continuous improvement efforts, Stacy will spend 80% of her time at Ellettsville and 20% at the downtown library. Jack and Maggie will remain focused on the downtown library. Moving forward with continuous improvement, Adult Services is developing an engaged creative team of library staff who will focus on serving the needs of all adults in our community. We will put particular emphasis on reaching out to the marginalized populations in Monroe County. For example, Maggie Hutt and Jack Kovaleski recently partnered with El Centro Communal Latino to support events for Hispanic Heritage Month. Additionally, now that we have a dedicated staff spending at least 80% of their time in adult services, we can focus our training and skill development to better serve patrons in key areas such as workforce development, civic engagement, and developing technology skills. Level Up, our digital creativity center, will also become a part of adult services and will enhance our ability to provide access to a wide range of technology. Once the operational development manager is hired, we will organize ourselves into learning cohorts with assigned mentors and specific audience-focused goals. For example, librarians who have been working with the Latinx community will have time and access to work with staff to strengthen partnerships within our community and better train those staff to serve patrons where they are, as well as where they are when they come in our doors. Through strengthening our working relationships and our relationships within the community, we continue to move forward with the library's mission of strengthening our community and enriching lives by providing equitable and impartial access to information and opportunities to read, learn, connect, and create. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Any questions or comments?
I have one comment about that neighborhood program where people learn about their street or the neighborhood, is that right? Yeah. Now, is that going to be the information that they've gleaned from that program, is that going to be searchable or stored in somewhere?
So yeah, eventually, yes. Right now, Christine is keeping everything in a big spreadsheet. A lot of people have chosen to investigate their own property because they want to find out things. We've specifically made it more of storytelling than where you have to have, a point of research where you can point to exactly where it came from. Her end goal is to eventually have a story map for Monroe County. She would love to eventually have that go statewide. But a story map would be something that would be easy. We could pinpoint different places. Folks could click on that and then, find out the story of that area. There's a lot of things she could do with it, and she's got, a lot of ideas, but at this point, that's her end goal. People seem to be really interested in it, too. It's a fun
Yeah, I'd
thing.
like to know, is that really where Hoagie, is that really that person's house, you know.
Well,
something
and
like
she's
that.
found links, which this has been going over several years. She's been working with some people from IU and the History Center, links to the Underground Railroad. And they're really trying to find the hard research to prove that, you know, these were stops on the Underground Railroad. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks to you and your team for, you know, all these exciting programs and all the extra work as we, you know, transition out of, well, from the more restricted COVID services to more open services now.
Yeah, thank you. I just, my team has done a fantastic job of really being creative, and the only thing I've done is said, go ahead and do it, but they've just done a great job. So thank you, I appreciate the time.
And it is now time for public comment. If there are any members of the public who would like to address the board, please come to the podium, state your name, and share your thoughts with us. Seeing none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you all.